Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the Free-to-Play Cast, brought to you by MMOBomb.com, your home for all things free-to-play related. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, aka magicman, and this is episode 319. We're recording on November 14th, 2019. You're watching it on the 15th or later. And we've got Hearthstone news. I'm not sure how we ended up with this much Hearthstone news. Just had a mode going to open beta. You would think that'd be it. But there's more. We got a rapid fire round, and then we're going to follow it all up with a little recap of what Pearl Abyss had to release, and reveal, I should say, at GSTAR. Although probably not going to be free to play, but well, let's get it in now while we're not sure, and some of it could be. Let's talk about it. Joining me to do so, Mr. Jason Winter. How are you, sir?
How am I? In one word. Happy.
You actually got a Happy Meal.
I got a Happy Meal for the first time in my life, yes.
And which did you go with? Like hamburger, cheeseburger, chicken nuggets?
McNuggets.
6-piece
McNuggets. I'm surprised. I thought they went to 4, but I guess they got 6 for big kids like me.
For big kids. How was your first Happy Meal?
I was happy. The Go-Gurt was surprising. I was not expecting the wealth of flavors there.
Yeah.
I've never had Go-Gurt from anywhere, actually.
And for those of you that do not believe us, yes, this was Jason's very first McDonald's Happy Meal. I'm amazed, too. We're just setting trends, Jason. You now ride roller coasters and eat Happy Meals. The rest of life is going to be exciting.
You know what I was thinking just the other night, too? I don't think I've ever had peanut butter and jelly.
Get the hell out of here.
I just don't like the concept of them together. It just seems bad.
So you've had peanut butter sandwiches and jelly sandwiches, but not a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
I've had like jelly on toast.
Like jelly on toast. Yeah.
Sandwich, but yeah, never together.
Go
I guess that's the next frontier?
Yes. Go eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I know you're going to enjoy some company with family this weekend, so have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with them. Also on the line, Miss Quinlan Bowers. I'm sure you've eaten a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right?
I come from poor white trash, so yeah.
Because you're not a serial killer like Jason.
Did Jason have a childhood?
Well, I know, Jason, you did grow up, and I don't want to divulge personal information, but you grew up in like a rural-ish area, right?
It's like 8,000 people in the town or whatever. It's not like, the Boondocks, 50 people or whatever gather around a fire.
Okay, then you have no excuse, because
grocery stores.
Yeah, I was going to say you have no excuse then, because I know Q, you grew up in what sounds like an even more rural-ish area than Jason, and you've had a Happy Meal, you've ridden a roller coaster, you've had peanut butter and jelly, you don't have people in your crawl space.
What?
Well, I
Jason,
don't know
you're a serial killer. I'm pretty sure you're a serial killer.
We have a crawl space, and I am not in it. There's nobody in it, I swear.
There's nobody in it. That was what you should have said.
Okay, all right.
Not you.
Right.
Just, you might be storing
He's like,
there.
I'm not in it. I'm not in my crawl space. There's 14.
I don't know, though. Like, serial killers typically come off as, like, the reason nobody suspects them, right, is they seem like the most normal people in the world.
Yeah, you're right.
So, you might
Jason,
have
you don't qualify anymore. I guess we should cover, like, the MMO stuff, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the news. It seems so tame compared to our discussion. We should continue that discussion, but that's not what we're here to do. So let's talk about Hearthstone. Now, the easy news, let's get that out of the way first. Tuesday, officially began open beta for the new Battlegrounds mode based off of our kind of auto battler trend that we've seen going on lately. Now, you may have played this earlier if you went to BlizzCon or you bought the virtual ticket or you pre-ordered the Descent of Dragons, either one of the two bundles they were offering for that. You got early access to Battlegrounds, but the official open beta for everybody just started Tuesday. Jason, you had a chance to jump in and check it out. What'd you think?
I think it's kind of fun. It definitely feels like I've the only one I've played is Dota Underlords, and it has the same kind of feeling of it. You buy stuff, and then they all go in. You face off against other people. Minions fight each other, and eventually, if you have guys left and they don't, you get to damage their guy, and last person standing wins. So it has a good feel of the auto battler mode, but with a Hearthstone kind of flair to it.
How did you do?
I am the epitome of mediocre. I literally, because 8 people in it, I've played 4 matches, and I've been twice fourth and twice fifth. So
You
I am like
are,
down the
yeah,
middle.
you are absolutely mediocre.
Hmm.
I think one of the other interesting things that did come out about this also a few days ago on Monday was that it isn't monetized right now. Like you didn't have to buy tokens like you do,
No.
you know, or you pay for like a pass like you do for Arena and you know shit like that. You just jump in. There is
Yeah.
no limitations, no barrier of entry, no 6 rounds free, and then you farm up gold or pay cash to play it. There is no monetization now. And they said that there probably won't be for at least the next 3 months or so. And I thought that was a little weird, right? Like Blizzard, usually Q knows exactly what they're going to do, whether we like it or not, with monetization. And this mode just kind of feels like they left it out there and they're just going to see what happens, how players respond to it, how players like it. Are they willing to support it? If so, in what ways? They did an interview with Gamasutra and game designer Dean Ayala and producer Melissa Corning at BlizzCon, and they just said, hey, you know, it's inspired by a bunch of different things, and right now we're not really concerned with monetization, at least for the next 3 months. We want to see what players have to say. Do you like this strategy, Q, or would you rather know before you get invested into a game or a game mode how it's going to be monetized?
That's kind of a tough question because I do like the idea of, okay, well, let's get in there and kind of see how everybody reacts to it and stuff like that. But at the same time, yeah, the whole investment, like you're in there and you've been playing a lot, and you might actually be really good at it. I wouldn't be, but you're really good at it. And then suddenly it's like, oh, now you got to start paying for things if you want to continue to progress and be good. So I don't know how I feel about, like, just from a perspective of somebody who probably isn't going to get that invested, I'm fine with it. But for other people, I think it might suck.
And Jason, you were very careful about your headline in this piece when you wrote it. The headline reading, Hearthstone Battlegrounds devs aren't concerned about monetization. And your point being that you kind of summed up at the end of the article was, while these two people working on Hearthstone may not be all that concerned with monetization, somebody at Blizzard has to be, right? They've already figured out where they want to go with this and how to execute it. Maybe the devs just aren't part of the process yet in that plan, but I refuse to believe that it hasn't been talked about at some level, and it looks like from the piece you felt the same way.
Yeah, and that doesn't necessarily mean they figured it all out yet. They might still be they might have like
No.
3 or 4
They
plans
have
in mind.
ideas,
Yeah.
though. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that someone, in the higher up has some concept of what they want to do with it. But one of the things that I remember from reading that interview was that they kind of built it at first as like a spin-off of the Tavern Brawl, which is like a weekly different mode that they have in Hearthstone. And that's always just been an additional little thing they have there, which doesn't have any fees to it, doesn't cost like Arena does, just a little additional fun thing. I don't know that it gets played a ton. Usually you get like, if you win one match in that, you get your free pack, and people probably don't play a whole lot beyond that. Whereas, Battlegrounds is something they want to have people play a lot of. They're going to have progression. You're going to have, which there's none of right now. That's the other part of it, is that there's no progression. There's no rank. There's no, they put in some quests to let you like win some coins from it, but for the most part, the game still revolves around the core modes. So that's also a fact of it, that, yeah, it doesn't cost anything to get in, but you also don't really get anything for it.
Yeah.
So at some point, though, they might have ideas on how to change both of those as it goes along.
No, I don't want to say that this is what Blizzard's doing because I have no inside knowledge, but that would lead me to believe that this is what they're doing. But I don't like this from the aspect of what we've seen a lot of games do lately, right? And that is release, get their reviews, and not have the cash shop or anything in there for review sake, and then 2 or 3 weeks later launch their cash shop after all of the initial reviews are in, whether they're good, they're bad, whatever. But we've seen that become like a little bit of a disturbing to me trend of, let's just not put the cash shop in the open beta or in the review copies or in the early launch. Call of Duty's cash shop, speaking of something relatively new that I've been playing quite a bit, it just has the Call of Duty endowment code in it. That's the only thing that's in the shop. It certainly isn't going to stay that way, but, we're a month into it, right? The reviews are done. All that stuff is done, and we still don't know how exactly what they're planning. We have ideas, things that they've said as far as season passes, battle passes, that type of stuff. Getting away from season passes and more into battle passes with the officer ranks. But we see a lot of companies doing that. I don't think that's what's going on here, because this is a mode inside of a game. I think it does fall a little, a bit on the rung of importance, and Blizzard's got some other things going on. So maybe it isn't, a purposeful oversight, Q, but I think you want that information sooner rather than later as a player.
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, it's one of those things that if you get going so far and then they're like, okay, now here it's going to start to cost you a bunch.
Yeah.
Then, but I don't know, it could just not, be that cost prohibitive anyway, whatever they decide to do with it, since it's kind of, in a game, right? And not just a standalone thing. So it may not even be that big of a deal.
Well, we'll keep an eye on it. Maybe it'll never get monetized because it's already in a game that has, monetization out the ass in other ways. And to Jason, your point, it really doesn't reward you with anything. So go have some fun in a mode when you're frustrated after a bad arena trip. So
you get frustrated in this.
Right, so you get frustrated in this. Before we leave Hearthstone, we're going to talk a little bit about Hearthstone and Overwatch, because some game directors now under Blizzard's flag have come out against Blitzchung's suspension too, which, remember, was initially lifetime banning and a revocation of all, or it was 1 year banning.
1 year.
Sorry, 1 year.
Lifetime
1
for
year
the casters.
lifetime for the casters. 1 year for Blitzchung and a revocation of all of the prize money earned. Then, after a few weeks of drama, for no reason other than drama, Blizzard reduced the suspension to 6 months for Blitzchung and 6 months for the casters, and reinstated all prize money, and made an apology that wasn't really an apology, and then took to the BlizzCon stage. And while I thought it was awesome and very intelligent and smart to address that first and foremost before you clicked off anything in BlizzCon, checked off any of the boxes, they went ahead and just reiterated the same apology, which, while I thought, all right, how bad can the headlines be? You already took a beating over this. That's exactly what happened. They took another headline beating over giving the same apology. So that's where we're at from the official standpoint. But now, Jason, it appears we have not only the Hearthstone team game director, but the Overwatch game director, who had nothing to do with this and isn't on the game at all, come out publicly and say this was handled wrong, and hinted that they feel like it still is being handled incorrectly.
Yeah, Jeff Kaplan, the director of the Overwatch, Jeff from the Overwatch team, as he calls himself on streams all the time, he talked to, who was it, the Washington Post, I believe?
Yes.
Yeah. I actually did not, yeah, I did put it in there. Okay, great. And he said, among the things, the suspensions got to him personally, and that he was greatly relieved when Blitzchung got his money back. He felt that the whole process happened way too quickly. His banning, happened way too quickly, which basically had happened overnight, or at least within less than 24 hours. And he talks about how, as someone who's involved with the Overwatch League, how they take and they've had some.
They've
issues.
done this before.
Oh yeah, they've
had to
some
deal
issues.
with bannings before. I'm going to read the quote and let you go in on it.
Sure.
His quote on this exact portion, dealing with Overwatch bannings. We had to deal with a few of them in Season 1 in particular. Yes, they did. And that process usually takes about 4 or 5 days to make the decision. There was always a group of us involved in deciding what the punishment should be, and we would heavily devil's advocate every part of the decision. For those of you outside of the United States or English-speaking communities, if you're not familiar with the phrase devil's advocate, it means arguing the other side of any viewpoint, even if it's not the side you personally believe in. Jason likes Happy Meals. He thinks they're great. I may like them too, but to play devil's advocate, I will argue that they're awful. So
For me to argue that I like peanut butter and jelly are a good thing.
Right. Right. So, a bit of a bold statement by the Overwatch team, the game director there, Jason. A bit of a bold statement.
Yeah, I mean, especially for, you think that a lot of these are going to come out during BlizzCon. Probably they talk to a lot of people, and basically everyone at BlizzCon, everyone involved at Blizzard probably had at least some little bit of a discussion. Like it was probably brought up just about in any interview they had. So I'm surprised we haven't seen anything from like the guys in charge of Diablo or whatever else also giving out the same sort of thing. But it's interesting to see that he came up with that strong of a stance, but also, yeah, I feel a little mad about it, which we'll talk about later, I'm sure.
To flip to the other side of this queue, Hearthstone game director Ben Lee and creative director Ben Thompson, they've kind of thrown their voices into this, kind of echoing a little bit of Jeff Kaplan's sentiments. Not quite as direct as Jeff was, though. Saying things like the initial decision was too harsh, and while they did feel like it should have taken more time to decide on things, they didn't necessarily agree that there shouldn't be any punishment, pointing out that while you can do and say whatever you want on your own stream, doing so from a platform that is very much not your own, Blizzard's, is not free speech. So a little bit of a hedging on that one, I feel like, Q.
Yeah, and I mean, it is a valid point, right? Like at least in the States, the whole free speech thing, right, is to protect you from the government stopping you from saying things. Whereas with like Blizzard's personal platform, that's like walking into somebody's house and saying something and them telling you to get out, right? Like it's that kind of equivalent, except a company. But basically, right, both of them are still, or all three of them, I guess, are still making the same point here, that it was harsh. They should have taken more time and not just, immediately done it. And it was just all way over the board. And if they had just taken that little bit of extra time and done like they would have done with Overwatch or something, they probably would have just saved themselves so much headache.
A little more due diligence type. Yeah, and we kind of discussed this when we talked about the initial bannings before they were reduced or anything, and Jason and I kind of made the same point that while I can absolutely see what game director Ben Lee and creative director Ben Thompson are saying here, it's not your platform. You don't necessarily have free speech on my dime, right? I get that. It is Blizzard's thing. They can do what they want with it. Nobody on this panel was arguing that they didn't have the ability to inject some type of penalties, discipline, however you want to view it, into this situation. We kind of argued that the rules were vague as all hell, but they did apply in a vague way to this situation and could be enforced. We just argued, should they be, just because they can be. I still feel like this whole situation falls in that really gray area where if they had, you've made examples in the past, Trump is great or Trump is awful. You really don't want anybody saying that on your stream if you're trying to avoid any political discourse on your stream. I get that. But when you start talking about things like human rights violations it just starts getting so gray for me. And you think, Jason, in your piece that there is some gray area here, and that might be why some people have come forward without Blizz actually having to do anything here. And this is pure speculation on your part, right? No inside knowledge or anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's just convenient, the timing of this and how these very high-profile employees are not coming out with this. It just makes me think that some discussion was had at BlizzCon, maybe in the a few days before, so that you could be prepared for interviews, or like J. Allen Brack or whoever else in charge there said that, if you guys want to go out and talk to newspapers and say you're against this punishment, go right ahead. You have Blizzard's blessing. You're not going to get in trouble for it or anything like that. But this will show that, hey, we mean that when we say our employees can talk about this sort of thing, and we mean that. So I don't know. I wonder if that's what happened, if there was some sort of back and forth on that level so that they could be allowed to come out and speak that. Let's see now if it happens again with someone who's not in a regulated
power position.
Not a power position, also not a definite, like here's my setup interview with the Washington Post.
Right.
If some random employee tweets something out, will he get in trouble for it? So
we'll see. We will see. So kind of a weird week for Hearthstone. They launched a mode though. If you want to check it out, go for it.
Mode.
Yeah, new mode. Rapid fire round. Let's start with Q. Kritika Online, that game that we talked about months ago is being closed. It's pulled a poltergeist, and it's back, right? This is bizarre.
Yeah, but it's back as Kritika Reboot in all caps because, although I guess it's not actually that different because if you go to Steam to download the game, they're telling you that you need to play with your files and stuff a little bit just in case you have the old files and it could mess some things up or something. So at least on Steam, it seems like Steam is recognizing it as the same game, not a completely modified thing.
Hey,
so
Jason, the reviews are good, and there's like 1,500 of them.
Yeah, because
What happened here?
Okay, well, this is wow. Are you guys seeing this?
Am I seeing what?
You're not seeing the crazy colors on the cast.
No.
Okay, all right, fine. I guess we're fine then. Never mind.
it's your turn.
It's just my turn now, but apparently we're fine. But yeah, lots of reviews, but they're all from the old Kritika, basically. Like they got another jump. If you look at the Steam chart, you can look at the chart where they have the different, the timing of everything. There's a bit of a jump in the last couple of days when the new game came out, but all the other reviews are from old school Kritika. Now that said, I think overall it is still pretty good. Like if you just look at the recent stuff, so I guess there was a demand for it, apparently.
I like this review. Here's one from December of 2018. So this was under old leadership, where they talk about it's a great game, they love it, but it gets very disappointing in late game, gets grindy, and it's stuck with a crappy ownership that doesn't care what you think. Again, don't know if they're referencing the developers or the publisher at the time. But then you look up, and it's 895 hours on record. 818 at the time of the review. Holy balls. Like, I don't know if I could play anything anywhere near that long that I wasn't going to be like, Jason, you have to play this. I love it. I love it. 800 plus hours. Holy hell. Kudos to you. So, yeah, it's back. If you want to check it out on Steam, be like Warlord's Awakening or, whatever. It'll come back 4 or 5 times. Q, you're the mobile one, so we'll throw this to you. Apparently, if you register for Black Desert Mobile, you can get Black Desert Online for free, speaking of Pearl Abyss.
Right, yeah. So Black Desert Mobile basically being like, I guess, BDO Lite. And yeah, if you go and pre-register right now for iOS or Android, then they give you a copy of BDO for free. And since you only really pay for the initial installment on it and not really the updates and all that jazz, it is effectively an entirely free game, other than having to buy whatever extra garbage you want to keep playing it.
I don't think Pearl Abyss would like that you call it garbage.
That's a general term for me, okay? Stuff is garbage. It doesn't mean that I actually think it's garbage. It's just random word. It's just the way I talk. But I'm kind of looking forward to Black Desert Mobile just because I do like Black Desert Online. So
Jason, that game that was like $10, but usually $4.90 on sale, you can now get it for free.
Right.
Just go free to play already, guys. Come on. Just do it.
This is only if you pre-register for Black Desert Mobile, and that you can only do until, like the 11th, I think, of next month? December? Yeah, December 11th is when it comes out, so I would assume you have to pre-register before that date to score your $4 copy of free software. Wow, lots of weird stuff going free. Stuff that we just, yeah. Dark Age of Camelot finally, Jason, has its free Endless Conquest mode. Finally.
Okay, that's nice. I mean, to be honest, I have looked at it a little bit, just because I've heard about it for so long. I know Gary back on Game Breaker. He was so big into Dark. He talked this up like to hell and back. Man, it's got 3-faction PvP. It's got RVR, and I'm like, well, Guild Wars 2 has it now too. And he's like, yeah, but this had it first. And he just like, yeah, but a lot of other games are doing it. Yeah, but this one was the best. It's like, why? Because it was 3 factions. Can you give me more than that? But yeah, that was the big thing. That was the really big deal in Dark Age of Camelot, the 3-faction realm versus realm open PvP, and now you can try it out for free, with some restrictions apply.
Oh, of course they do. This one's weird for me. I remember Dark Age of Camelot being very, very big in the grand scheme of things, like the other things that were launching in that area. Well, obviously, it was no World of Warcraft size or anything like that. But I do remember it being a pretty decently populated game back in the day. They announced this free-to-play like in 2017, said it was going to happen in 2018, and it barely snuck into 2019. Like, it got in under the wire here for Endless Conquest, and it's on 2 different servers. There's also a special, like, welcome back thing for returning subscribers if you've been inactive for like 180 days or more, and of course are in good standing. So there's a whole like reason if you never checked out Dark Age of Camelot. Here's this part I struggle with, Q. If you've never checked out Dark Age of Camelot, I don't think you're going to now. I just think it's been out for too long. You're playing other things, and as good as it was back then, and may still be for those that play it, I'm not disparaging the product here. It is dated. It is dated as hell because it's an older game. I don't know how many players this brings to the fold for DAOC.
What I see is curiosity downloads, right? Because you have heard people talk about if you play MMOs, you've heard people talk about this game. So I could see people who kind of missed out on the early days, or just, it was far enough along that nobody wanted to spend money on it. But now that it's free, you can do the curiosity download, spend, I don't know, a week or something diddling around in it, and then be on your way. Maybe the curiosity downloads, but I don't see it getting people to stick around.
That might be what I do. I might be a curiosity downloader.
If you're gonna do it, let me know. I'll check it out with you. We can go do a little. We talked about this when we saw this, that I don't know if I'm gonna do a first look video for this because it is just really, really dated. And I don't know how interesting. And there is more to it. It is more sandboxy than a lot of things. So, to get footage for it. And Jason, they still have that illegal free shard that doesn't have any limitations. This just one's really weird for me. I don't know. If you're gonna check it out, Jason, let me know. I'll download it too.
All
right. Q Epic going to court again, suing another Fortnite leaker while Twitch bans streamer for 7 days. What the hell? Who's getting sued and why? Why does Epic keep doing this?
And I'm a little. Jason actually wrote this one. I'm a little bit confused on this. So it was for a tester, like an actual tester for
Chapter 2.
What company? Yeah.
Yeah, some company in Canada.
He was testing for Chapter 2, but he was working. Was he working for a company and doing this testing? That's what I'm not like. Or was it like some sort of?
The company provides testing services for.
Okay.
So they were probably contracted from Epic.
All right, because it's not like somebody just data mined it or anything like that. It was somebody who was doing official testing for a company that was doing stuff for Epic, and then decided to. Says he doesn't know how it got out there, but he admits to taking the screenshot. If you
kind of had to. They have him on security camera doing it. So
right, but if you're the person who took the screenshot, right, like. How did your screenshot get out?
Magic. It just leaked out of the internet.
Yeah, that screenshot just walked out on its own.
Now, they're suing for $85,000, Jason, alleging that the Epic Games was deprived of the element of surprise. And that, yes, while their damages may be far more than $85,000, they've actually picked this number to use it as a deterrent, rather than try to sue them for millions for commercial losses on worldwide scales and all that stuff. They're just trying to drop a big penalty here. Does this suit have any chance of succeeding? Any?
It's going to get settled, I would think. For some smaller amount, maybe. Maybe in the low 4 digits, something that a person could actually possibly afford. I don't think they're going to garnish his wages for the next 20 years or whatever. But yeah, like I said, it's a deterrent. It's because we had the previous one a little while ago, someone else leaking. There are going to be more leaks in the future. I think there were some way back a long time ago. It's just telling people like, look, we know Fortnite is cool. We know you love it. We know you think it's awesome. You got a job testing it. If you show that stuff up before it comes out, we're gonna F you up. Don't do it.
Yeah, I'd be interested.
That's all
I'd be
they're
interested to, in this case, to read the NDA. I mean, that's where the crux of this case comes down to, right?
No, it's probably standard of the stuff we've had. Don't reveal screenshots before the news article or whatever.
Right, but as far as penalties, I would assume that, like, in the NDAs that we sign, there's no penalties disclosed in it or anything. But we don't work for a contracted company to test the game, where I imagine that the NDA is a little bit more comprehensive on both sides of the case. So, I don't know. We'll watch it. And by the way, if you're playing Fortnite and you want to stream, don't do it with a banned player, apparently, because then Twitch is just going to throw your ass out, Jason.
Yeah, apparently that's against the terms of service if you stream with someone who is banned from Twitch, even though he had the guy muted, I guess. But apparently it was known that a Fortnite streamer, a pro player, in fact, goes by Clicks, received a 7-day suspension from Twitch for streaming with permanently banned player known as Zane. And that goes against their terms of service. Apparently, Zane had been banned and then created a second account to get around the ban, which is big no-no.
Yep.
So, yeah, don't associate with the dirty people.
Don't do it. Last thing in the rapid fire round, RuneScape dropped a whole piece about monetization in which you probably ask, wait, what? I thought that game was monetized a long time, but like they figured this out, what they wanted to do years ago as far as monetizing the game. But Jason, apparently there may be some changes being considered to the way Jagex monetizes RuneScape, and players aren't all that thrilled.
There's some PR being considered at least, because as you might remember a couple months ago, there was a paper put out by the British Parliament that said, among other things, that they talked about the case of a RuneScape player, an adult player, who had spent $62,000 on microtransactions, or I think it was £50,000, which translated to 62,000 US dollars. That, of course, made all the rounds, all the news sites, including ours, and that results in a little bit of a negativity directed at Jagex. So they came out just this last week, or about a week ago, and had a pretty long video talking about monetization, what their goals are, and what they intend to do going forward. And yeah, it did not go over all that great with a lot of players who kind of were saying, especially the people on Reddit, were like, yeah, you do that, and you kind of know it, and you don't really care. But that's probably how a lot of them appear in some way. A lot of game companies.
Yeah. So, yeah, there you go. Let's finish it up with Pearl Abyss at GSTAR. We talked about last time a number of games that they had revealed, and we're going to be giving more information at GSTAR. We did get all of the trailers that we were promised, and a little bit more information. Of course, monetization, not part of that. So first up, excuse me, we have Plan 8, the Exosuit MMO shooter, which we all kind of said, oh, isn't that what Anthem is? An Exosuit MMO shooter? This might not be great, but we did get a trailer for that. All of these trailers are available in a piece on MMO Bomb, so you can just go to that site, go to the site, look up this one piece, and get all of the trailers for all of the games we're going to be talking about here. It's supposed to be an open world. The machines have taken over. I don't know. At the beginning, there's planes crashing, just falling out of the sky, and at the end, the guy says, not again. Wait, what? This has happened before? All the planes just started falling out of the sky before?
I wonder if it's like a Terminator type thing, because the machines take over, he goes back in time.
Maybe. I don't know. It's closely tied to the mysterious setting of the world. Pearl Abyss wants to use its expertise with MMORPGs to help this title stand out a little bit and give it kind of a unique shooter. Now, we don't know if it's going to play like, an Anthem. We do know that it's open world. There is an exosuit. We don't know if it's really more on the MMORPG side of things, excuse me, or if it's more the looter-shooter type of things. But I gotta say, Q, the trailer does get me to want to check it out. There was enough there that I'm like, okay, I'll keep my eyes on this.
I mean, with it being a shooter, it's probably one of those things that I would watch somebody else play. So, just to kind of get the story, whatever story might actually exist in it.
Well, that
you're never sure with shooters.
That was something that I will say. It did seem like in the trailer there was a pretty big focus on story in the trailer. Now, I don't know if the game will bear that out, but instead of being told, oh yeah, it's heavily story-driven, I think the trailer did a great job, Jason, in showing that it looks like it is going to be very heavily story-driven.
Yeah, they kind of made that point when they were doing the presentation. With the whole like hour-long presentation that they gave at GSTAR, I also have down below, so you can hear the game directors talk about them a lot more, as well as show off the trailer, so you can get a bit more info there, which I somewhat encapsulated. But yeah, he did seem to indicate that it is going to be rather story-driven. It's going to be important for you to know that sort of stuff.
So that's one. They already got me. That's one. Plus one for Pearl Abyss. I don't know if I'm going to purchase. We still got to find out monetization and everything. But they have my attention on this one. Thumbs up from me. Jason?
Yeah, thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Q?
Give it a look.
You're kind of, I'll watch, so you're here. Yeah. All right.
You don't hate it, but you're not.
I don't ever hate shooters. They just hate me. So.
Moving on to the more like cartoony looking one we were talking about last week. Apparently, it is pronounced Doke V. Jason.
Yeah, I think so. Like
Doke
Pokemon.
V. Yeah, Doke V. Revolves around little creatures called Dokebai. Dokebai?
Dokkaebi, I would guess.
Dokebi.
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier when I was looking at it, and the title might actually be the same thing because V and B are kind of the same sound. Like for Dragon Ball, if you hear people pronouncing Vegeta's name in the Japanese version, it's Vegeta. So
interesting, because I mean that's actually the text that they show us. Not only in the presentation, they had like on a big screen, they had the translation of what the guy was saying, and it said Dokebi. So
right, so that may just literally be how it's pronounced.
Now this one, no surprises, I think, after we saw a little more of this in the trailer, that it was originally a mobile game, Q, so I don't think we're surprised there. And then Pearl Abyss decided, yeah, we're going to bring it to the consoles and PCs because they think it's a bit higher graphic fidelity than just a typical mobile game. Other than that, though, we really didn't get much on this game, and to be honest, after watching the trailer, I'm less inclined to follow this one than I was on last week's cast. I'm going to give this one a thumbs down for me, personally, but I can understand the appeal that it looks like it's going to be very much in the mobile / Pokemon / collecting area of gaming, and I could definitely see there's a lot of people that like that. It's just not for me. I'm going to give this one a thumbs down. It's probably lost my personal interest. Q?
I think I'd keep an eye on it. I mean, it's cute, so.
Jason?
I'm a very simple person.
I don't need any more cute semi-mobile games in my life right now. So personally, I'll give it a thumbs down. But I mean, in terms of how it looks, I'm sure it'll appeal to the proper demographic.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's going to flop. I know there's a demographic for that game. It's just not me. The last big one was Crimson Desert. And Jason, you had some thoughts on everybody in the trailer having a certain...
The engine's going to take the strain, Captain.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you tell it.
I mean, they're very Scottish.
Like all of them.
There's even the main guy is even named Macduff. So that gives you an idea of how very Scottish it is. At least the Western translation, or maybe American English. I don't know how it's going to be like in French or whatever, but yeah. So Crimson Desert apparently focuses on a band of mercenaries. Macduff is the leader of this mercenary group. He is a man in constant turmoil with a tragic past that he cannot escape from.
Oh, because of course he is.
Yes. He looks rugged too, doesn't he? He look very rugged?
He's Jon Snow.
Yeah, he did. And it is snowy. It's very cold and snowy. And they talk about how the land is not very good here. It's
because of course it's not.
Even though which doesn't look like a desert, it doesn't look very crimson at all. So I don't know why they went with that, even though it was originally supposed to be a prequel to Black Desert, but then they just kind of morphed it off into its own game.
And that interested the hell out of me, by the way. That this was a originally conceived as a prequel to Black Desert Online and then morphed into something else. So then I was like, oh, okay, so now we have Black Desert, we're going to get Crimson Desert, and then, what, Azure Desert, and
Desert and Polka Dot Desert.
Mauve Desert.
Teal Desert.
Yeah. It's going to be the whole series, Q. Q, I'll let you go first on this one after watching the trailer, knowing that it's going to have some, at least what they're saying is some traditional MMORPG content, and then some, a lot of characters, monsters, trading, exploration, and a pretty extensive single-player campaign, which makes me think, wait a minute, then, is the MMORPG elements a separate mode? Like how you log into a Call of Duty and click campaign or multiplayer, or are they just referencing, like, the main story through the MMORPG, like, Final Fantasy 14. I don't know. We'll have to see. But Q, your thoughts on this one? Did it interest you? Have they piqued you? Are you still going to follow it, or is it on its way out?
Yeah, I'd still follow. Like I said, I played Black Desert, or did. I don't right now, but I enjoyed it a good bit. And I mean, they have me at Scottish accents, so that's a plus.
I'm just trying to trying to get the YouTube to stop at a very particular point here so that I can show something. Come on. Trailer. Come on. I just saw where I'm like, oh my god, it is fucking Jon Snow. All right, here we go. I'm going to share this with you guys. And what do we want? We want... Yeah, we'll just do my screen. That's fine. Tell me that is not Jon fucking Snow on the right there.
I thought that when I saw that first image that they showed like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we said that on last week's show, that it was very Jon Snowy. Q, I'm with you, though. Thumbs up. I'm interested. I said this last week. Fantasy MMORPG. You got my attention right there. Jason, I know you're a little skeptical on fantasy MMORPGs. More skeptical than I am. So where do you land on this one?
I'm a thumbs up, but my skeptical part is more on the whole, like, it's going to be single player, but also an MMORPG, which to me gives me almost like a Star Wars Old Republic vibe.
Yeah.
Like they're going to try to have this very big single player story, but it's going to seem separated from the, you're going to do the important single player stuff, but then there's going to be an MMO, like, hey, go out and kill 10 Womp Rats or whatever. Do that too.
I'm interested to know more about that too. I thought it was very funny wording, the way they described it. It almost felt like they were saying the game has a single player campaign and, very, very much like the way they market, shooters, Call of Duties and things like that. What I'm hoping for more in an open world MMORPG type setting would just be that they were actually saying, hey, there's a main story that goes through here.
This looked like it was very story focused. Like I'm watching it, and I almost was thinking like a Telltale game. I was thinking of the Telltale Game of Thrones games.
Yeah.
That's how it seemed to me almost.
So maybe a single player thing with some multiplayer modes. I don't know. We'll have to keep our eye on it. Let's go and do the weekly bombs. Jason, you're up first, sir.
I guess we don't want to talk about Shadow Arena at all, huh?
Shadow Arena? No, not really. I mean, we don't really have anything on that one.
All right. I mean, it's like a battle thing. It's based off of a battle royale mode from Black Desert. Again, we don't know if it's going to be free to play. So whatever.
Yeah, I mean, there's a trailer, and to me, it was just like, well, for what the game is, the trailer was story trailer. I was like, I need to see what this is about, but yeah, so. All right, I'm going to give that one this then, if you want to.
No, yeah, probably. All right.
Go ahead, Jason.
I'm going to start off. Yeah, last week after someone had talked about my candy jokes from a couple weeks ago being dad jokes, I'm like, okay, what's wrong? I'm going to give an A-bomb to people who think dad jokes are a bad thing.
I love dad jokes.
And a double A-bomb to the implication that only old people can make them. I was making jokes like that when I was like half my age. I make bad, punny jokes like that for years now.
Yeah,
it is not a dad.
Am I allowed to say that half of our age you were still old?
Shut up. Half my age, I was still older than half our audience. I know.
Hey, I was too. I'm in the same boat. I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, I could go with you. I like dad bombs. Q, go
Dad
ahead.
bombs? Say
Dad bombs.
Do we need the chart again? Do we need the chart? Do we need to add
I
dad
think we
bombs
need to
the chart?
modify the chart. Like, I think there needs to be a meh bomb or something.
Not including to be dad bombs.
Oh, God. Go ahead, Q.
You're ruining your own show, Mike. I'm gonna give it to bomb to Scottish accents because why not? We should have more of those and everything.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Yay, kilts. I'm going to give a dub bomb to mustaches and more frames. It's such a stupid event when they run this thing for November's, but the screenshots are just amazing. And I want to give an A bomb to what's going to be part of our question of the week this week. And we didn't get this until like right after the show last week. Conqueror's Blade, Jason, a game that is pretty near to Jason's heart at the moment. Has a new money-making option, and I am not a fan, Jason. You want to tell us a little bit about how they're planning to monetize some stuff here?
Yeah, so what you'll be able to do is if you miss your daily quests, you can pay to complete them the next day. Same with the weekly quest for the next week, which is just weird. You can pay in-game currency, so you won't necessarily have to pay cash, but you can also pay the cash shop currency.
Oh, by the way, though, the rewards are different.
Yeah, rewards are if you pay
get
the cash shop
you
currency,
get a
full
percentage.
rewards.
Yeah, you get the full rewards if you pay with the in-game currency. You get what was it like 60%?
60% for if you pay with the out-of-game currency, which, yeah, I don't know. That's a little too little subversive for me. I think. I don't.
A bomb.
The worst part is that there's like a weekly track you have to get get like the big weekly event, the big weekly rewards. You get that by doing your quests or dailies and your weeklies, but you won't get that if you pay for it. At least pay for it with the non-cash shop currency. I don't remember if it was with cash shop. That's what bothers me. I might consider paying for some of it if I knew I'd get that, but if I don't even get that, then I'll get like a pair of boots or something.
Yeah.
It's like whatever.
From the viewers, Japan's Freak says, dub bomb for Quinn's setup, camera, internet, and managed to have the first normal show in weeks. Not going to miss the Martian Quinn, that's for sure.
Don't talk about it.
jinx
It knows you're talking about it.
Go ahead, Jason.
Romano British says if an athlete's caught juicing up a steroids, giving him or her an unfair advantage, the commissioner will not give them a pass. Oh, will you let it go? You might affect your livelihood. Yeah, right. So talking about the guy who streamed his aimbotting in Fortnite and was all crying about how he didn't.
Ninja saying that maybe his profession and his age should have been considered, and this was the livelihood of somebody, which we all disagreed with. Go ahead, Q.
William Hewen.
Chiming in on the same thing, by the way, here.
Apparently it's story time in the comments. A young bank employee is caught stealing money from the bank on stream. He's getting fired, of course, and might go to jail. A famous bank person says, well, he is new and young and he's a bank streamer, so just give him a give him a 6-month ban and we'll work and we'll let him keep the money. I know I'm pushing it a lot, but still.
That's going to be the new hot category on Twitch, bank streaming.
Bank streaming. Slyer Fox says, you always know a dad joke because the punchline becomes apparent.
Oh. I actually didn't get that while I read it while you were saying it. I didn't get it, and then you actually spoke it. And
it wasn't until he into it.
Yeah. Okay.
Slyer Fox is all about the delivery. All about the delivery, my friend. Go ahead, Jason.
It's Slayer Master PWI. This has been a while since I commented. Good to have you back, Slayer Master. So I have a couple of bombs. Dub bomb for getting to see the Konosuba movie on the 12th and Slayer in concert on the 15th. God, Slayer's still around? They were around before I was half my age. That's how old the band they are. I'm probably going to get to keep some ibuprofen with me on the vehicle. I'm going to be headbanging pretty hard. Might need a couple after the show.
Yeah, you probably will. Go ahead, Q.
Breckner Caitlin. A bomb to Perfect World Entertainment's Torchlight Frontiers. Wow, I can't say words right. For still not having an official release date for a game that should have released in 2019.
Well, they're running out of time. So to make that deadline, we'll have to have a date soon. Zhao says, do not give preferential treatment to content creators violating rules. If anything, they should be the public lead by example. If he's a professional streamer / content creator, he should know better. Yes, it was not a ranked match, so that makes it okay to cheat against other players? No, of course not. It's his responsibility to not F up his own job. I might enjoy playing with spreadsheets and maybe cheat myself to your livelihood on some database or reports. Dub bomb to Steam, CS GO, case keys becoming untradeable, and all the nasty black market that takes down with it. Also, dub bomb to Maelstrom. I never thought I'd find myself losing hours to a battle royale, much less a naval one. I assume by naval they mean like Navy and not belly buttons. Just gonna make the assumption there. Although now I want a belly button battle royale.
You want that, or you want to watch the bank stream?
Oh, I could play while watching the bag stream. Finishing up with short matches and arcade controls, it's just right to spend some time playing matches in solo and teams. Thank you so much for the feedback there. Go ahead, Jason.
Doggy V72 says a cheater is a cheater, plain and simple. Doesn't matter why the player is cheating. Either it is to get ahead in the game or for entertainment. There could have easily been players who are playing the game and uninstall on the simple fact that there are aimbots in the game affecting the company directly. Allow the player to return to the game, which is incentivize other players to do the same thing. Create aimbot content, create a new proxy, and repeat the cycle of aimbotters.
And I think that's where we all kind of landed, that like, you kind of screwed yourself when the problem became aimbotting, because they almost have to do something at that point.
And I've played games where I definitely have been affected by hackers or aimbotters or whatever, and I'm just like, I don't know if I want to play this anymore.
Yep.
So
they're all fair points. Question of the week last week: are you planning to try out Bless Unleashed, and is it a mistake for it to be an Xbox One exclusive? I did have, I think on Friday or Saturday of last week, I did have some time to sit down and play a little bit of Bless Unleashed. I played for maybe 2 or 3 hours. And at the end of it, like, I shut everything off, Jason, to go to bed. And as I got up, I was like, am I having fun?
Like, I'm having fun playing Bless.
Like, I wasn't sure. Like, am I having fun? I don't know. So I'm going to play.
If you have to ask, you're not.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Like, I was engrossed in what was going on. It was very, very linear. You know, obviously I was only like 2 hours into it, so it was kind of going through the whole tutorial and the linear set up the story stuff. And then side quests started becoming available in the first big zone that I got to. And, you know, combat I was getting used to because it is action combat, but it's not like Terra, quick, fast, responsive combat like that. There is ducking and rolling, and you do have to, you know, time things. But as far as your attacks, it is a little slower than Terra. Or other action combat games. So, you know, I was getting used to that and, you know, dying a few times and learning different things and looking at their pass, because they're going to have a Bless Pass that works like basically like Fortnite and Destiny, where the one tier is free and the other tier is paid. So I was like interested and into what I was doing. I wasn't ready to just be like, I don't want to play this anymore. I do want to play it some more. But I don't know if I was having fun. Like, it's weird. I don't know. I don't know. I want to play it again, but it's not like, oh, that was so much fun, I want to play it again.
So it was like more of a clinical thing.
Yeah, it was really like, I definitely want to play this again. And
but
get further.
From a clinical experience to not actually, I'm really enjoying this.
Yeah, but not so much even for like, hey, I work at MMO Bomb, I want to play this some more because am I going to do a first look now, or am I going to wait until after open beta ends and it goes to a full launch, because there are some bugs still in it. You know, it wasn't even like that clinical. You know, what am I going to comment on and writing notes while I'm playing and stuff? No, it was like, even if I didn't work for MMO Bomb, I want to play this again. But I'm not really sure why the fuck I want to play it again. At least not yet. So it's very weird. Very weird. I do think it's a mistake to be Xbox One exclusive. How do you guys feel about that one? I mean, I know there was money that changed hands here that they did it. But I do think for as badly as things went for Bless Online, and you're still carrying that name, the Bless name, into this, I think it was a big mistake to limit your audience to one console. Jason?
Maybe that's why they took the money from Microsoft, because they needed it.
Fair
For as
point.
bad as Bless had done. So.
Fair point.
Yeah,
maybe.
there is that. I mean, it did kind of shit on their existing players in the original game. So,
Yeah.
but hey, whatever.
From the viewers, Gesley says, Magic Man, this is totally not in response to this week's question. It's in response to last week's, and that's my own personal fault. You'll see why in a moment. Gesley says, Magic Man, you said Mika-chan was the only one who cared about the answer. I did send one to you via email, or did you not consider it an answer? No, I forgot about it. I did read it. I saved it. But 3 days later, when I did the show notes, I forgot to go back to my email. I apologize. So, Gesley answering... last week about BlizzCon, last week's question of the week, 2 shows ago, about what was your favorite Blizzard announcement? Hello, I generally don't play Blizzard games. I tried out WoW for a few days. It did not catch my attention. I don't play games competitively, so Hearthstone, Overwatch, and StarCraft games are not my cup of tea. From all of Blizzard's games, I've played Diablo 3 the most. I like to play games with a few friends, co-op, for fun. So both new games they announced, Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2, caught my attention because it could be fun with a group of friends, but I'm not hyped about them. So maybe I'll try them out. It's up to my friends, I guess. So, Gesley, my apologies for not including that when I read the answers on last week's show. Go ahead, Jason.
Japan's Freak says, question of the week, I don't give a damn about Bless Unleashed or not. I'm with you, man.
Cute.
Slayer Master PWI, as for the question of the week, I keep forgetting that Bless is even a thing, so I highly likely won't try it.
This is not going well. Frosty says, question of the week, it makes sense for Bless to be Xbox One exclusive only if Microsoft paid them for it, which I doubt. Microsoft exclusive these days are on both Xbox and PC. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they got paid. Pretty sure they got paid. Jason, finish it up.
Bits-Turn-Bite says, please let Bless die. Bite. I'm about to say, I mean, I wish I didn't know Troy had changed his name.
Troy, speaking of Troy, should be back on a show. He's had some stuff going on. There's some viewers that commented they missed Troy. I relayed those messages. Troy loves you all. He's just had some real life stuff going on. He should be back in a little bit, probably after the holidays. So it would be good to see the Troy man again. Question of the week this week. Would you ever pay to have quests completed for you in your MMORPG? And I've kind of opened this up a little bit further than Conqueror's Blade is doing here. I'm talking about dailies, weeklies, story missions, whatever. I mean, Final Fantasy XIV's got that whole pay-to-skip story things. Like, would you ever buy stuff like that? Why or why not? Let us know in the comments below. While you're there, give us your weekly bombs, bomb for something good, bomb for something bad, or your question for the panel, or just something you want to talk about or vent about. Until next week, Q, where can everybody find you?
Hanging out on Twitter at Quitland.
Jason?
They can find me in the frozen north for the next few days, but online they can find me at Winter Informal on Twitter and streaming at twitch.tv/JasonWinter.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me personally right there on Twitter at MagicMan1, but more importantly, while you're there, follow at MMOBomb so that we can tweet at you all the news, interviews, previews, first look videos, giveaways, and so much more directly to your Twitter feed. Until next time, gang, stay safe, and we'll see you out on the servers.